And welcome back to another Respect and to another edition of Smackdown Out of 10. It's a big episode of Smackdown this week because it is the go home before Clash in Italy. It's taking place in Barcelona, kind of a new location for Smackdown. So yeah, a lot going on. We had Cody Rhodes and Gunther kind of having a final build for their title matches, as well as some other big matches including Carmelo Hayes versus Ricky Saints. But we got the usual recap of Superstars arrivals and SNME recap as Cargill made her way to the ring with Meechin and B-Fab. She talked some trash about Ripley, which brought the champ out. To issue a response, reminding Cargill of her winning record against her and promised to repeat her success on Sunday. Cargill said the division doesn't revolve around her and even went as far as to claim nobody in the locker room likes her. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss came out to add their thoughts. This led to Nick Aldis booking Cargill v Bliss. The number one contender was getting some good heat in this segment. The Spanish crowd was booing loudly enough to make it clear at times. Predictably, Ripley was received a big pop when she arrived. This was a relatively simple segment designed to highlight the title. It wasn't didn't advance match, but it wasn't bad, and that led into the Alexa Bliss versus Cargill match. As soon as we got back from the break, the Goddess had the upper hand thanks to her quickness, but the Storm used her power to stop her from building more momentum. Cargill dominated her opponent throughout the break as Flair and Ripley watched helplessly from the ringside. When Bliss began to make a comeback, the crowd started getting involved. WWE could have booked Cargill to get an easy win of her title shot, but Alexa was competitive even in defeat. All four women ended up fighting to the back. After countering Twisted Bliss, Cargill hit a pump kick, followed by Jaded for the pin and win. Cargill still has some things to work on, but it was a decent match. The number one contender hit one more Jaded over the chair after the match was over, just kind of solidifying her as the heel. So yeah, 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to Rhodes and Sami Zayn having a confrontation backstage, Zayn wants an apology for Rhodes hitting his finisher last week after he helped take care of Gunther. Rhodes said it was fair game because of what happened during the match, and then The Miz was upset Kit Wilson would not be by his side for the match against Axiom, especially since they're in Europe. Garcia introduced Axiom in the Spanish, and he got a great reaction. They had a brief sequence of counters before the lights flashed in the arena. Nathan Fraser cheered his partner from ringside and used his speed and control to the A-lister. The match was booked exactly how it should have been. The Miz played the classic heel, and Axiom did a great job being a babyface, putting on a fun show. Simple but effective. Axiom picking up the victory. Taking advantage of lights flickering. Yeah, just what it needs to be for local heroes. 6 out of 10. Moving on into Damian Priest and Royce Keys versus the MFTs. After a backstage segment with R-Truth, who isn't cleared to compete, he ended up getting this match with Slayer at ringside, but Truth didn't show up until the end. Tama has a lot of muscle still coming to WWE, but he's the smallest guy in the ring because the 3 other competitors were so big. Keys ended up being in a position of the babyface. He gets double teamed through the break, but the Archer Infamy got the hot tag when the show returned. This is one of those matches where it's decent, but it felt like it's missing something. They were following a familiar pattern we've seen in countless tag matches, so it didn't feel excited. Sikoa attacked Priest behind the rest back, paving the way for the MFTs to win, likely to go for a world title shot. So yeah, makes sense. 5 out of 10. As we then moved on to Sami Zayn, who was taking to Johnny Gargano when Matt Cardona approached him. The conversation turned hostile, leading to a match. Despite being on heels path these days, the crowd was still behind Sami Zayn. Cardona didn't get much reaction, so it's clear who the favourite was. In the first couple of minutes were pretty standard exchanges takedowns. Zayn ended up upping the aggression. They had a back and forth fight, but Zayn controlled the pace the majority of the match. Cardona rallied, but it's too late. Zayn hitting a Helluva kick for the W. Entertaining, but the story would have been worked better if the crowd was kind of anti-Zayn, but still 6 out of 10. As we then moved on to Lil Yachty and Trick coming to the ring for a promo, he called himself the man with the money and was the one with the connections. The US champ declared his intention to enter King of the Ring, which led to Hayes coming out. They talked some trash before Saints made his way to the ring for the match. A little scuffle broke out before the break. When we returned, the match was underway, and these two had a great encounter the last time they met. So yeah, we knew that they were going to put on a good performance. This was the best thing we all saw all night. Unfortunately, it ended in a double counter. Hayes was a second too late, making it back to win. Saints tried to keep fighting, but Hayes hit the first 48 to send him packing. Hopefully get a rubber match at some point, because yeah, it's always fun when they compete. But yeah, I think a good match, and I think there's an intriguing little freeway for the title coming up soon. So yeah, good stuff. Chelsea Green then tried to recruit Tiffany Stratton to be in her corner for the US champ against for the match against Nia Jax. Later in the show, Tiffy had a run-in with Nia and Lash Legend that seemed to change her mind. This was Green's first singles match since February due to her having an injury. The Barca crowd were happy to see her, and she leaned into it by acting like more of a babyface. Green fell into the role of an underdog against a powerhouse. She kept finding ways to make brief comebacks, but it looked like the former champ had her number until the last few moments. Stratton's music provided the distraction, allowing her to attack Jax with her title belt behind the rest back, allowing Green to get the win thanks to their help. So yeah, intriguing. I think it's only going to lead to the additional feud between those two. 5 out of 10. And then overall, yeah, the final segment was the face-to-face between Rose and Gunther. They had a good verbal exchange to showcase the match. Rose was particularly strong, but yeah, wasn't a huge amount to it. And yeah, Friday's job did okay hyping the PLE, but he didn't do enough to make the episode stand out. The only match kind of worth looking at was Hayes v Sense, and even that didn't really have a satisfying ending. WWE's gotten too comfortable with repetitive booking and storylines, and yeah, it kind of feels like something needs to change, especially on the blue brand. So
that's it for this video. Thanks very much for watching. Remember to like, share, subscribe, follow us on our socials, link in the description below for daily wrestling news, meme and content. Subscribe to our other channels on screen right now, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks very much for watching. Peace out.